Welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today we welcome Alleviate and Our Mirage vocalist Timo Bonner to the podcast. Alleviate released Demons back on August 23rd with the Rising Empire Records. Timo talks about the musical influence of his father, growing up with the strong music scene, forming Alleviate over Grand Theft Auto, working with Nik Nocturnal, and more. Demons is a great record, so make sure you find time to give it a spin and add it to your weekly listening. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of As the Story Grows. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. I would love it if you subscribe to the podcast feed on your platform of choice. There are new episodes twice a week, so make sure you subscribe and never miss an episode. You can find links to hang out on the As the Story Grows Discord server, to sign up for the mailing list, or support the show financially and get early access to every episode via Patreon in the show notes or over at asthestorygrows.com. And if you think somebody might enjoy Alleviate or Our Mirage or the podcast as a whole, I would love it if you shared it with them. Enjoy getting to know Timo from Alleviate.
I'm doing pretty good today.
Yeah.
Already did a podcast before. So this is the second one today.
Okay.
It went great, and looking forward to this one.
Good. That was great. So I'll try not to ask you the same questions, even though I have no idea what that is.
Okay.
Where in Germany are you currently?
I'm in the western part of Germany, close to Cologne, a little bit north of Cologne, like 1 hour away from there.
Okay. Is that roughly where you grew up?
Yeah. I kind of grew up here in this area. It's we call it the Ruhr area. It's where the band Electric Callboy is from.
Okay.
I grew up here, and it's great. It has the biggest metal scene in Germany.
Yeah. What's your opinion of Electric Callboy? Let me just ask you that right away, because there was a label mate of yours who might have said some things about Electric Callboy that were negative.
Okay, I think they're great guys.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I absolutely adore what they achieved. They for real, like it's crazy how big they grew in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And they have all my respect for that. It's not really the music I listen to.
Yeah.
But they're doing a great job, and I wish them all the best. And yeah, they do everything right.
Yeah, they seem to be having a lot of fun, and they seem like there could be a gateway band for people to get into metal and then discover bands like yours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What got you into music?
My dad.
Okay.
Because I was born into a family where my dad was always doing music, and he had bands, many bands when he was my age and even younger, and so he always had like a little recording studio in the basement. Oh, nice. And that's how I got into music and recording and songwriting and stuff. Nice. Yeah, that's it was just my destiny.
Yeah, it was always there for you to discover.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. At what point did you discover like heavy music?
Heavy music. I would consider Sum 41 as well under the heavy music.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I was 6, and the album All Killer No Filler just dropped, and my dad bought it, and he was listening to it in the living room. And I came into the living room. I was 5 years old, I think. I was like, damn, that sounds great. Can I have that? And then I stole the CD from my dad, and he never got it back. And
nice.
And I was so obsessed with that band that I got the second album for Christmas a few years later, and then my first metal album was Meteora by Linkin Park.
Yeah,
and I also got that for Christmas because I was so obsessed with this music. Yeah, I would say I started at 5.
Nice. That's awesome. That just makes me realize how much younger you are than me. Like,
well,
damn.
okay, I just turned 30.
Yeah, I turned 40. So
all right.
What was the music scene like locally for you? Was there a good, whether punk or heavy music scene, or was it
absolutely?
Yeah,
like the scene here in this area. I mean, it's the biggest pile of people in whole Europe. It's like many towns so close together. Yeah, it's great. It's a great scene here. We have almost every day there's local shows going on, and every weekend there's like big bands coming to this area because so many big towns are so close together. Like if I want to see a band, I can drive to, I don't know, 5 or 6 different big cities, where all of those bands are playing because they're all coming here.
Yeah.
And like starting a band here was super easy because there's so many musicians, so many outstanding musicians here, and everyone wants to start a band, and you can play shows everywhere.
Yeah, that's cool. I grew up just outside Washington, D.C., so I'm like located to be in touching points of like all these big cities in the surrounding area, where I know like a lot of places in the United States is not like that. And it's more maybe a European experience where it's like not till I get to another big city.
Yeah, it's a little bit more close, but this area, the Ruhr area where I'm from, is something special. Like you can be on one road and drive through 7 towns.
Nice.
And that's great in big towns.
Yeah.
It's cool here, but I live like on the edge of it. So I have the best of both worlds. I can be on the countryside, but I can also be in the big city.
Yeah.
You know?
Now I'm falling through my own battleground, and I'm crawling, 'cause I can't hear a single sound.
Let's talk about Our Mirage to start. How'd that band get started?
Our Mirage started in 2017. It started with a solo project of me. Yeah, I wanted to release a solo song, but then it kind of blew up, and I was like, okay, I need a band.
Yeah.
and then I asked some friends, and they joined, and yeah, the rest is history.
Nice. How'd you guys get connected with the Rising Empire?
So after the song went viral, the first one, it got like 2.5 million views on YouTube in like 1 year, I think.
Nice.
We finished the album within 1 year, and our first album, and then I sent an email with the album and the caption, 2.5 million views in 1 year. So I got an email back maybe an hour later.
Yeah.
And they were like, yo, want to sign? Yeah. And that's it. And for Alleviate, for my second band, it was easy because I already knew the guys.
Yeah.
I just sent the first song over. And they, but with no intentions, actually. I just wanted to know their opinion, or hear their opinion on it. And they're like, yeah, what are your plans with this? I was like, I don't know, maybe play a few shows, something like a side project. Here's the contract.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What's it like being a part of, I mean, they're not just a German label, but they seem to be like, I don't know, from my mind, the premier German like metalcore label.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. What's it like being on the label? Like,
amazing. Like, they're great dudes, great people, easy to communicate with. Yeah, sure, here and there, nothing like some things are not working out perfectly, but that's always like this. you know?
Right. Yeah.
But
Being on a label.
yeah, exactly. But they respond pretty fast. We have a friendship. I would say they come to our shows. We talk a lot. I even featured on a live show of like our A&R manager. He's also the screaming vocalist of the band Venues.
Yeah, Robin.
And Robin. And they asked me if I want to feature on one of their songs on a live show, so I did. And yeah, it's a friendship. They're great guys and great people on that label. So yeah,
Awesome.
I love being on that label.
That's awesome. Alleviate started during the pandemic. What led to this idea, and why were you like, I need another band?
Well, why I needed another band? Like, no, it was just like I was bored for sure because all the shows got canceled. I had nothing to do. You couldn't meet with your friends. And yeah, I was playing GTA Online with the guitarist of Alleviate, Ramon. He's from the Netherlands, so he's living in the country next to us. And we were gaming, and I've worked on some Our Mirage songs with him before, and I knew he was an outstanding guitarist. I was like, while driving with a motorcycle around Los Santos, I was like, yo, should we write a song? And he was like, yeah, let's fucking go. and so he came over to Germany, and he collected some ideas before on guitar and wrote some riffs. And I was like, yeah, I like this riff. I like this chorus. Let's come to the studio and let's record it. And then he came here, and we wrote our first song, Die For Me. And yeah, that led to the contract with Rising Empire.
Nice. Our Mirage released Eclipse in 2022. You have this record coming out now. Was it just like that time during the pandemic to create and work on both these projects? And how did you, as a lyricist, approach each project? Like, did you take a different track with each one?
I think, writing Eclipse was really during the lockdown. During the first lockdown, I wrote half of the songs of the album with Ramon, the guitarist of Alleviate. Alleviate was a little bit of a longer process. We wrote the first song in 2020, but took some time to really bring out the best music we could possibly do. For Our Mirage, I recorded everything, but for Alleviate, also Ramon, the other guitarist from the Netherlands, recorded a lot of stuff at home. And because I taught him how to do it. He had like some problems with mental illness, couldn't really leave his house and couldn't come to the studio. So we had to figure out another way. But we talked about all this with the Rising Empire, and they said, yeah, take your time, release the best music you could possibly do. And then we finished the album over 3 years. Yeah, it was finished last year around this time, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I assume the album is pronounced Demons.
Yes. Yeah, it's a short form for Demons, but we didn't want to call it Demons written out because it was a little bit cheesy, but we liked the short form DMNS because it really sums up what all the songs are about, like battling with mental illness and stuff.
Run left alone with broken bones. Let down, turn apart, far away from home. When it's buried down on me. In my eye, whispering in concrete. Buried in concrete. I'm dying out and I feel so wake up bleed.
Yeah. Who came up with the album artwork?
I think mainly it was me. I was playing around with with an AI tool for image creation. It was not Mid-Journey. I can't remember the name of it. I was like having like an idea of a guy sitting on the edge of a portal between two worlds, and just couldn't decide on which side, or couldn't leave the other one, and just staring into the next one.
Yeah.
I just had that thing on my mind, and I like described it to the AI tool. And after, I think, 10 tries or something, the basic image of the dude sitting there with the ivy around the edges of that portal came out. I liked it, and then we sent it to our like, how do you say it? Someone who creates album artworks and like a digital artist.
Okay.
And she did the rest to it, like with the veins coming from the bottom, and made it like a little bit more of an album cover, and added in the logo and stuff. And she also did like for the whole album, all the stuff around it, how the CD is gonna look, how the vinyl is gonna look, and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. The Rising Empire format for releasing music these days is the slow drip release music, over a year. You guys currently have 8 of the 10 tracks out online. Because you're a band who, like, I talked to Robin and Layla from Venues about this too, because you kind of wrote in slow chunks, did that give you the ability to, hey, we're a new band, but like you have a new song every 6 months and you don't have to worry about finishing the whole record all at once, that like, this single is going on the record, so you can just send it to the label for the video?
Yeah, I mean, with the first 2 singles, it was like this. We were like, yeah, let's just release some singles. But then later on, we talked about this with Robin from Arising, because the listener habits got different in the last few years because of playlists and streaming and stuff like that.
Right.
Everyone, like most of the people, are not listening to a whole album. It's like really maybe 20% of all listeners just do that. But the rest is listening to music in playlists, maybe their own playlists, or I don't know, the core on Spotify, like those playlists from Spotify itself. And since we thought that every song on that album had actually single potential, it was really good, we went for it and released every song as a single, just because we thought that every song deserves the attention that it will get when we release it as a single. And yeah, some people don't like it that artists nowadays release the music like this, but in the end, it's more profitable to release it as singles over and over again, than just release, I don't know, 3 singles before and drop the album, but then the rest of the album doesn't get the recognition it deserves. When you're still a band in our size, for example. Yeah. When you're, I don't know, like Falling in Reverse could release an album without any single before, and all the songs would, or Bring Me the Horizon. That's
right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a different level, but as a band that's still trying to make it, it's important to release singles and singles and singles and singles, because otherwise people will forget about you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different universe where, like, 20 years ago, you'd release one single, the album would drop, and then you could just, like, release music videos throughout a year for the singles. But now it's like you got to front load them because it's the streaming royalties you're looking at, and you're not, people like me who are going to buy the vinyl or the CD, we're that small minority.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so some people buy the CD or the vinyl at the show for sure, but they're not listening to that album on CD or vinyl. They mostly just put it on the wall or have it as decoration somewhere. And if we sign it, they put it into like a
frame
or something. Yeah, in a frame. Exactly. Yeah, but they're not listening to the whole album on the CD. Like
Yeah.
most of them are not doing it. They're still listening on Spotify to just 3 songs.
Yeah. Album's out end of this month. What's your plan for the rest of this year? Is this going to be your focus, or are you still splitting time with Our Mirage?
With Our Mirage, we're going to release a new song in September. We just started teasing it yesterday on TikTok and stuff. But yeah, we're playing a big tour with Our Mirage as well. And Alleviate is playing a lot of shows. There's still going to be 2 music videos for Alleviate. So the rest of the year is pretty full with both bands. And both bands get my attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the music industry now with Spotify, YouTube is so global. Does it change your perspective as a touring band, or are you still just like, we're trying to build our fan base in Germany and then Europe and build out that way?
I mean, yeah, like sure, we try to build our fan base in Germany first, and that's working pretty well, and then go outside. I mean that's the smartest move, but like all the streaming stuff didn't really change any of the approach.
Yeah.
The only thing that changed is that you are now forced to use TikTok to get more attention to your music. Let's be honest, I hate TikTok for real. It's a horrible platform.
Yeah.
And you're forced to do stupid shit that you actually don't want to do, but you got to promote your music. And the only way nowadays to really reach out to new people is it's the easiest on TikTok. Instagram is still is trying to get to that, but TikTok it's easier. So I recommend to everyone who's listening to this, get your band on TikTok and post videos every day.
Yeah, there's a band who I really like their TikTok content because they're funny. But I listened to their new album and I was like, that kind of sucks. Like, I prefer the funny skits and whatever.
And in the perfect situation, you do both good.
Right. Yeah, I can't believe I was going to let you leave without asking you this question. How'd you get connected with Nik Nocturnal for Gravity?
Actually, I knew Nik since 2015 or 2016, somewhere around that time. He had 2,000 subscribers on YouTube back then.
Yeah. A little bit bigger now.
Yeah, a little bit. I got in touch with him because he did a cover of my former band I had back then. He did a guitar cover of one of our songs. And then we did some more covers on his channel where I featured on vocals. One for The Word Alive, one for Ask Alexandra, I think. And then he asked me to do, if I want to jump in for the Electric Callboy, how to sound like
Electric Callboy.
Yeah. Because the other vocalist he had originally couldn't do it anymore. And he messaged me, and I did it within 2 hours, sent the video the next day, and he still was in time. So, And then I was like, yeah, Nik, now I did this for you because he asked me if I wanted money for it. I was like, no, but you owe me one in reverse. And so he did a feature on Alleviate.
Nice. Awesome, man. Well, thanks so much for hanging out and chatting. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.